Alright, this video is on review for multi-step equations. And if you haven't done the review yet by yourself, do it first. And then watch the video, grade yourself, and see where you messed up. Alright, so the answers are as so here, 1 through 10. So grade yourself and see if you missed any. And if you did, then go to that number and watch the solution. So that way you know what you did wrong. All right, we're going to start with number 1. And you don't have to write R if you don't want to. You can change it to X. It doesn't matter. All right, the very first thing that we need to do is distribute this 7. Anytime there's a number out in front of the parentheses, it's going to get distributed. So we're going to multiply 7 times 3r, which is 21r. And then we'll take 7 times 1, which is 7. Then we still have this 7r that we're going to bring down. And all of that equals 231. Well, I'm going to draw my line down my equation here, and I'm going to label. I got an R, I got a number, and I got an R. Anytime that you have like terms on the same side of the equation, you can just add them together. So 21R and 7R are going to become 28R, plus 7 equals 231. So what I've done is I've put the 21R and the 7R together and made 28R. Now we just have a two-step equation, and we're just going to solve like normal. Positive 7 and negative 7 are going to cancel each other out, which is why we did that. And then I have 231 minus 7, which is 224. Then I'm going to divide by 28 on both sides. And 224 divided by 28 is 8. So R is 8. So that would be letter C in the first problem. All right, number 2 says negative 7 times 3 minus 2x equals negative 133. So again, we're going to distribute, this time we're going to distribute a negative 7. So negative 7 times 3, and then negative 7 times negative 2x. So negative 7 times 3 is negative 21. Then we have negative 7 times negative 2x. This is kind of all the same. It's really like negative 2x here. So negative 7, if we can even put it in our calculator, negative 7 times negative 2 is positive 14. And then we still have the x here. So positive 14x equals negative 133. So we just have a two-step equation here. We're going to add 21 to both sides. These will go away. And I'll get 14x equals negative 133 plus positive 21. Whoops, you can't see that. Is negative 112. Whoops, sheesh. All right, so I'm going to divide by 14 on both sides. And negative 112 divided by 14 is negative 8. So the answer to number 2 is B, negative 8. I don't think I have enough room. I'm going to switch over. So now we're on number 3. 132 equals negative 3 times 4 minus 8m. So I got negative 3 times 4, and then times negative 8m. So negative 3 times 4 is negative 12, and then negative 3 times negative 8m. Well, negative 3 times negative 8 is positive 24, and then I have an m, equals 132. So we just have a two-step equation. I'm going to draw my line, add 12 to both sides, and I get 24m equals, and if I take 132 plus 12, I get 144. Now I got to divide by 24. Oops, I didn't mean to cross that out. 144 divided by 24 is 6. So number 3 is 6, which is B. All right, number 4. Number 4 is a little different. If you look at it, look here for a second. Do you see that negative out front? It's really a negative 1. So when we write it, I'm going to write a negative 1. So I have negative 1 times negative 7 minus 4n, not equals, minus 6 equals 49. All right, so we got two sets here. We're going to distribute a negative 1 here, and then we're going to distribute a negative 6 here. So we have two different things to distribute here. Well, negative 1, the only thing that happens is it changes. When you multiply by negative 1, the only thing that's going to happen is that these are going to change their signs, because 1 doesn't change anything, but the negative does. So it was a negative 7, now it'll be a positive 7. And it was a negative 4n, now it'll be a positive 4n. So that's the only thing that changes here. When you multiply by a negative 1, it just changes the sign of everything. Now the negative 6, not only is it going to change the sign, but it's also going to be multiplied by 6. So negative 6 times n is negative 6n. Negative 6 times negative 5 is positive 30. And now I have this that I have to clean up. I'm just going to label everything. I have a number, an n, and a number. So I have things that I can put together here. And I'm going to make it really simple on us, and I'm going to draw a column chart here. So I have a 7, and then I have a 4n, then I have a negative 6n, and then a positive 30. So I'm really just adding my columns here. I'm going to put my numbers together, and I'm going to put my n's together. Well, 7, we're always adding here. 7 plus 30 is 37. And then I have a positive 4 and a negative 6. So if I take positive 4 plus negative 6, I'm going to get negative 2. So it's really a negative 2n. So I'm going to start with the negative 2n plus 37 equals 49. Now we're back to a two-step equation. And I'm going to subtract 37 from both sides. And 49 minus 37 is 12. Then I'm dividing it by negative 2. And 12 divided by negative 2 is a negative 6. And this is number 4, that is letter D. So it looks like I'm getting about 2 problems out of each page, which is fine because multi-step equations do take up a lot of space. So don't worry about paper. Just, give yourself as much space as you want. Don't try to cram it into a small space, because then that's where mistakes happen. So number 5. we have 52 equals 4 times x minus 5 plus 4 times 2x minus 3. All right, so once again, we have two things we're going to distribute. It just so happens they're both the same number and sign, so that's different, but that's okay. No different. I mean, it's fine. All right, so we're going to take 4 times x, which is 4x. Then we're going to take 4 times negative 5, which is negative 20. Now we're moving over here. I'm going to take 4 times 2x, which is 8x, then 4 times negative 3, which is negative 12. And all of that equals 52. So I notice I have some things that I can put together. I have an x, a number, an x, and a number. So I'm going to create my column chart over here just to keep myself straight. My x's are going to go in this column, in the first column, and then my numbers will go in the second column. So notice I have a 4x and an 8x. They're both positive, here and here. Then I have a negative 20 and a negative 12, and I need to add those together. So 4 plus 8 is 12, but we'll check ourselves just to make sure. And then negative 20 plus negative 12 is negative 32. So what I really have is 12x minus 32, or I could have said plus a negative. It doesn't matter. I think it's easier to say minus in this case. So I'm going to add 32 to both sides. Let me draw my line. These 32s will go away, and I'll be left with 12x, and I have 52 plus 32, which is 84. Then I divide by 12, and x equals 7, which is letter A. All right, we're halfway done. So number 6, I got negative 56 equals negative 8 times 1 minus 3x plus 6 times 6 minus 2x. And I'm going to distribute this negative 8. And I'm also going to distribute that 6. All right, so negative 8 times 1 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 3x. Well, negative 8 times negative 3 is positive 24. So that'll be positive 24x. Now I'm over here, and I got 6 times 6, which is 36. Then I have 6 times negative 2, which is negative 12, but I also have the x. And all of that equals negative 56. So I'm going to label what I have here. I have a number and an x, and a number and an x. So I'm going to put together what I can. And I'm going to scooch this over and make my column chart. So I have negative 8 here, 24x, positive 36, and then negative 12x. So 24 minus 12 is 12. So I got 12x, and then I have negative 8 plus 36, which is positive 28. So 12x plus 28 equals negative 56. So that's where we are now. I'm going to draw my line. I'm subtracting 28 from both sides. And I get 12x equals, well, negative 56 plus negative 28 is negative 84. Or I could have done negative 56 minus 28, and I would have still got the same answer. Now we're going to divide by 12, and x is going to equal negative 7, which is A. All right, moving right along, we're on number 7. So I have negative 8 Oh, this one's actually a little bit more complicated, so that's good. All right, so we're going to distribute the negative 8, and we're going to distribute the negative 7. So let's do that first. Negative 8 times 7 is negative 56. Negative 8 times negative, this is really a negative 1p. So negative 8 times negative 1 is positive 8. Then I have negative 7 times positive 7, which is negative 49. Then I have negative 7 times positive 3p, which is negative 21p. And all of that equals this side. So you can only deal with one side of the equation at a time. So I'm just going to forget about this side for the moment. So we're going to scoot this over. I got a number, I got a p. I got a number, and I got a p. I can't combine anything over here with anything over here. I can only do one side of the equation at a time. So no matter what's happening over here, I can only deal with this side first, and then I'll go over here and deal with this side. So we have numbers and we have p's. I got negative 56 and positive 8p. Then I got negative 49 and negative 21p. So positive 8 plus negative 21 is going to give me negative 13p. Then I have negative 56 minus 49, which is going to give me negative 105. So this side simplifies to negative 13p minus 105. Now we got to deal with the other side. So the other side has a p and a p. Well, technically this is a 1p. So all I need to do is just really put those together. So positive 1 and negative 7. I'm going to add those together. So positive 1 plus negative 7 is negative 6. So this side equals negative 6p. Notice that it had its own column chart. Like, I can't put these numbers over here. When they're on separate side of the equation, you have to have separate charts. Now we're back down to equations with variables on both sides. So we always try to move the smaller p. And normally 13 would be larger, but because it's negative, it's actually smaller. So this is the one we're going to move. I'm going to highlight that just like we used to. So we're going to move 13p. So we're adding 13p to both sides. And these will go away, and I'll be left with negative 105 on the left-hand side. Negative 6 plus positive 13 is 7. And then we divide by 7. And I get negative 105 divided by 7, which is negative 15. And that is letter A. All right. Let's keep moving. We're on number 8. They're starting to get a little bit more difficult, which is good. All right, so we're going to distribute. Now, obviously, this one's going to get a -2. Okay, -2 is going to get distributed over here. But what might not become apparent is that this is actually a -1. So -1 is going to get distributed here. So we need to do that work. We'll just start with this side. So -1 times 5 is -5. And then -1 times 8n is -8n. And then this n's going to come down just like it was. We didn't change it at all. So now we're over here. -2 times n is -2n. -2 times 7 is -14. And then this -1 comes down. We didn't change it at all. So I have two sides of the equation, and there's a lot going on each side. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to label. I got an n, a number, and an n. So I have things that I can put together. So this is really a 1n. So I have 1n and a -5 and a -8n. Of course, the -5 is not going to change because we don't have anything to add with it. But the n's will change. +1 and -8 is -7. All right, let's go to the other side. This side, I have a number, an n, and a number. So let me make my column chart. I got a -1, a -2n, and a -14. If I add, the -2n is not going to change because there was nothing to add to it. But -1 and -14 become -15. So now I'm down to an equation with variables on both sides. Anytime I have a variable on one side and the other, I always look for the smaller one. -7 is actually smaller because it's farther away from 0. So this is the one that we're going to move. Since it's negative, we need to add 7 in. And these 7 n's will go away, and I'll be left with -5 on the left-hand side. On this side, I got -2 and +7, which is +5 minus 15. Now, this is a two-step equation. I'm going to add 15 on both sides. These will go away. And I'll get 15 plus -5 is 10. So 5n equals 10. I'm going to divide by 5 on both sides. And n equals 2. Because 10 divided by 5 is 2. So number 8 is B, +2. All right, we got 2 left. And we're at number 9. I have -3 times -8 minus n plus 6 equals 5 times -7 minus 2n. All right, so I'm going to distribute. And I'll have to distribute on this side too. So I got -3 times -8, which is 24. Then I have -3 times -n, which is +3n. Then the 6 just comes down because we didn't change it. Now I have 5 times -7, which is -35. And then 5 times -2n, which is -10n. So the only thing I have to do really is just add these two numbers. This one's pretty clean. I have two numbers, so 24 plus 6 is 30. So I'm going to get 30 over here, and I'm going to rewrite this so that my variable's first. Not that it matters, but now we're at the point where we have equations. We have an equation with variables on both sides. So we're always looking for the smaller variable. So which one's smaller, 3n or negative 10n? Well, any negative number is smaller than any positive number. So negative 10 is smaller. So we're going to add 10n to both sides. I get negative 35 on this side, and then I add here and get 13n plus 30. Now I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides, and I get 13n equals negative 65. And when I divide by 13, negative 65 divided by 13 is negative 5. So that would be letter A. All right, last problem in the review. If you are doing well, you probably haven't watched all of these, but if you have, then maybe you need some more practice, and you can raise your hand and ask for more practice before you take your test. That way you'll get the best score possible on your test. All right, we're going to distribute the 3, and we're going to distribute the negative 4. Well, 3 times n is 3n, and 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, and negative 4 times negative 1n is positive 4n. We're to the point now where everything's combined as it can be. I can't put the n and the 24 together, and I can't put the n and the 8 together. So now I'm going to decide which n to move, 3n or 4n. Well, 3n's smaller, so that's the one we're going to move. So we're going to subtract 3n, and I get negative 24 equals negative 8 plus n, or 1n. It doesn't matter, you don't have to write the 1. Now I'm going to add 8 to both sides. We still got our line coming down through here. And negative 24 plus 8 is negative 16. Oops, not 0.24. Which is A again. There's a lot of A's in this. All right, so if you're ready for your test, go ahead and ask for, go out and take it, or ask for the code, depending on which one it is, and do your best. Otherwise, ask for help. Ask for more examples. Look through your notes. And if you need me, let me know.